Well, for the last couple of days, we've been in a long, beautiful, blisteringly honest conversation between God and Abraham. Abraham opened up to share his real fear and disappointment with God about not having a son to carry on his legacy, right? Remember all that? Well, here on day 12, we're going to see what happens when that fear ferments. Taking a look here, got the reading guide open to day 12. We're here with Genesis 16, 1 through 3, where we've got this decade of waiting that Abraham and Sarah have had to endure, and that waiting for God to grant the deepest longing of their hearts. It brings Abraham and Sarah's patience to the breaking point. And then I've also added in here, as you might notice, a little bonus for you. So a little bit of reading from the New Testament, the book of First Peter, first chapter of First Peter. And I did that because today brings up such a painful and helpful question, which really is, hey, why does God make us wait for the good things he has promised? Abraham has to wait, Sarah has to wait, we have to wait too. And so this companion reading today from the New Testament book of First Peter, that shows that people of faith have been asking this same question for centuries, and it offers up an answer. And so I couldn't resist putting it in for us. So first things first, however, if you haven't already, take a moment, go ahead and read. Read Genesis 16, 1 through 3. Grab those verses from First Peter as well. And then we'll get into a little bit of conversation here. I'll show you my green, yellow, red highlights for the day. You'll make yours. Go ahead and pause right now. You read. We'll come back to talk about it. All right, let's read and react to Genesis 16, 1 through 3, plus a little bonus from First Peter. All right, now, what's happening here today? Well, we went from this incredible moment with Abraham and the Lord, this covenant the Lord makes with him, and for this beautiful future that he's got planned for his people, with some hardship along the way, but this amazing prophecy, right? All this, and then we've gotten into the next moment here, and it is so jarring, it's so disappointing. Oh, but it's so great to read too. What's happening here? Abraham and Sarah have had to wait. It's been this 10-year long wait after Abraham settled in the land of Canaan. 10 long years, and those years have worn down Abram and Sarah. And so we're seeing them make a choice, make a suggestion, make a plan that just goes way outside of God's boundaries, because the waiting, it has them just trying to figure out how to relieve the pressure and make this happen on their own. And so that leads me to my red highlight for today. Easy to find reds, harder to find greens. Oh, but they're there, don't worry. But the red here, I mean, it's got to be this. Sarah's suggestion here. And she says, go and sleep with my servant. Perhaps I can have children through her. And her justification for this course of behavior, well, the Lord, it's God. He's prevented me from having children, she says. And then Abraham agrees with Sarah's proposal. Yikes, 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 yikes. It's the moment where, once again, we have to remind ourselves that everything that's in the Bible is not something God agrees with. He's just describing the course of events. All right, so that's one thing. And then another thing I think we have to say here is not good, but I think we got to watch out and make sure that we don't judge. All right, now to the point where we just write Sarah off. Instead, I think we need to put ourselves in Sarah's sandals. I mean, what kind of emotional state drives Sarai right here to such a truly dark idea? What kind of pain, rejection, and desperation is she feeling that pushes her to believe that this is the way to give Abraham what he really wants? Just heartbreaking, but this is what happens, right? That's why I'm highlighting it red, because again, I haven't. This is a situation that's unique that to Sarah and Abraham, but we've all been in the spot, right, where we get so locked in, so fixated on getting what we want when we want it. That's the problem here, right? It's the timing, the 10 long years. And we get to a point where we just need the relief. We need it to happen now. And so we do what Sarai does here. Maybe not the exact course of action, but the thinking behind it, right? She takes something God has done, which is, the Lord's prevented her from having children. Yeah, that's a thing. That's the state of affairs, right? So she takes that, and then she takes something God has done, and then she jumps to interpret it in a way that gives God's approval, or at least a pass for something He would never condone. We've all been there. I think we've all been there. Well, God's making this situation we're in. Well, God's put us here, so then we're free to get creative, right? Because we feel the pressure. Something has to happen. Something has to change. Something has to move. And in this case, honestly, it's not totally on Sarai. I mean, this is her idea, but it's also on Abraham, right? He's obsessed. We saw he brought this up with God. He is so disappointed and restless at not having a son. He's so obsessed that he makes his relationship with Sarai based entirely on this one thing. And honestly, that is absolute insanity. And it pushes them to do something, make a choice here that's absolutely wild. All right. Now, to my yellow. So and there's only a couple verses today from Genesis, but boy, it moves his story forward, doesn't it? And so then I pair that again with this selection from 1 Peter, and it's got it's the place where I put a couple yellows for today. The first, I wanted to, I actually wanted, I'm going to do it. I wanted to highlight 2 reds today, so I'm going to do it. This is the day that bothers me. First of all, I'm going to highlight this right down here. It says, "Now we live with great expectation." Isn't this, man, it's the double-edged sword of knowing that God has a good future planned for us, right? And that's the beautiful side of this. And 1 Peter describes it so well. He says we have this priceless inheritance kept in heaven for you, pure and undefiled, beyond the reach of change and decay. I mean, that's just, beautiful, right? But here's the flip side. We know there's a good future, and that makes the broken now so hard to deal with. And so we live with a great expectation. And it is a hope, but that hope gets so heavy when we feel so far away from that beautiful future and now seems so broken. And so there's, so that brings up my yellow highlight for today as I show that to you. And it comes through right here. This is interesting. It says, through your, it could be red. Let's put it yellow. He says here, though, through your faith, God is protecting you. Oh, interesting. Now, this is the New Testament, right? In 1 Peter, he's putting out this idea that God knows we need a relationship of trust with Him in order to survive this life, to carry the beautiful burden of this great expectation we carry. We know things aren't right now, and God will make them right. And why won't He hurry up? God knows that He's protecting us through our faith. He knows that we need faith in Him, trust in Him to survive. And so God uses these seasons of waiting to build up our trust in Him. These long seasons, these long waits, the kind of wait that the 10-year wait that Abraham and Sarah are facing. He knows that long waits like that, man, they really turn up the heat on our hearts, don't they? But he's using that heat to temper us, to bubble up what we need to give up, right? So that that our minds and our hearts become more refined, more trusting, more stable and steady, you know? And why is all that? Why is God using waiting seasons to build up our faith? Well, that's my green for today. What a great line here that I love. It says, why? Well, your faith is far more precious than mere gold. How about that? Your faith. So God, and this is how God sees it. God sees your faith, which, by the way, faith is not a body of knowledge. It's not a history of church attendance or a moral code that you've put together based on the Bible. Faith is nothing more and nothing less than trust and confidence in who God is and what he says he's going to do. Faith is hanging the weight of my fate on who he is and what he says he's going to do. No more, no less. That's faith. And that capacity, that ability to trust is more precious than gold. Isn't that amazing? And so God's testing and refining it. That's what First Peter is saying on here. But that your faith, I don't know if you see how valuable your faith is. Honestly, it's one of the reasons why a guy like me, hey, I care about you, and I'm obsessed with trying to trick you into spending time with God through his word, to bring your real thoughts and emotions to the table so you and God can have these honest conversations, so you can survive the grind, the wait, the 10 years before where God does nothing to bring his promises about, and you're just feeling like you're about to pull the parachute on this whole deal. But your faith is so valuable. It's worth the work. And we're going to cash in, man. When Jesus Christ, what we have been hoping for God to make everything right and bring his forever kingdom to this earth through Jesus, oh, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. We're going to cash in on the gold that is our faith, that trust in God. We're putting deposits in the bank, and we're going to receive it back with interest. But man, does that make the waiting any easier? It sure does not. All right, well, there's my green, yellow, reds for today, my friend. How about you? Drop them in there, add them to Facebook. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. And what do you think about this whole topic of waiting and the connection here maybe between 1 Peter or Genesis 16? Let me know what you think. Drop it in Facebook, and then we'll come back after you read and reflect a little bit on today's reading. We'll circle back for some further insights.